You're on a path in the woods, and at the end of that path is a cabin. And in the basement of that cabin is a...
Have you ever heard those beautiful stories and fairy tales where the prince in shining armor comes to save the helpless princess from capture, imprisonment, or certain doom? Welcome to Slay the Princess, a game made by Black Tabby Games, a love story about a hero who's come covered in darkness by night to slay a princess. This isn't a video about killing the princess, it's about showing how the character is built with the story. You're brought to a forest to open. The narrator, one of many characters that reside in your head, describes the scene to you, and to a certain extent, controls you. You go to the cabin and enter, regardless of how you may choose to approach the princess, with a knife or without, freeing her or slaying her, you'll die. And then you're brought back again, to seemingly the same forest, the same cabin, only the cabin's changed. The voices in your head notice. The narrator describes it differently, but something's off. The cabin's changed. And as you descend the stairs again, so has the princess. She's different. She's not the princess you feel she should be. Not the princess she was. This game is built on death. You kill the princess or you die, and in quite a few scenarios you encounter both. And then you meet the princess again. Larger, smaller, more powerful, wilder, weaker. And then you get to make the choices over again. Kill or be killed. You aren't in the forest anymore. The cabin's changed again. And the princess, compared to the first, she's been affected by the changes, by your choices. Every decision you chose and every step you took to reach an ending affected her. If you killed her, if you fought her, if you died for her, if you freed her. Somewhere, you died, however, and like molding metal, you cemented something in her being. But to every cycle there is an end, a true end and then a new beginning. You then have the chance to reflect, to see yourself and what you've done, to see what you have become out of your choices. And the end brings you to the woods. No moon, no trees, no narrator. You climb the hill and you see your adversary, your love, your princess. Caressed by hands and held by a power you can only feel slip through your fingers. This being in front of you is beyond yourself, too vague to understand itself, but desperate to clarify, to find the right or enough perspectives where it can see the full picture. Where every perspective is a puzzle piece, you are the one putting them together. And you can wait with this incomplete being, in an eternal abyss, damning yourself to infinity of having part of yourself separated, lost. You wake up in the woods, the narrator speaking to you once again. The world full of light and life, but you know there's something different. The woods remain the same, but the cabin will be different. The princess will be different. Something will be different. There's no normalcy to this world. No matter how it may appear, that creature in the basement is no princess. It's connected to something beyond reality, something that pulled you closer to it, and you can't escape. The woods are cold and the air is still. No matter how long you wait, the princess will be there and the world will end. Either by your hand or hers, somehow you will die. But by the end of it, you'll see that being again, you'll get to fit each puzzle piece in place and rebuild something. Whether you die and a world ends doesn't mean there's nothing changing. You kill a princess, she kills you, you find a new cabin, enter and repeat. Every death feels painful, but every death, every step down to the basement, every time you and her lock eyes, it's a step towards building a being, a step towards maybe building yourself. The being is there once again, at the end of it all, sitting at the top. Oh, she's gone. I guess you fit all the pieces together. And then you see it. Your completed piece, the image you've been putting together, found the rest of its pieces, and the picture is magnificent. Every piece you've brought her, every perspective she made her own, ultimately came to this. Finally, you are given a choice that mattered. Kill the glory you've allowed to come into being, join hands with it and break the infinite to allow yourself as gods to roam, where you can come to see the truer being that lies within. You met with every choice you gave her once again, every death you caused and every short life you lived, consequences to your seemingly inconsequential actions. You meet face to face with them once again, the victim, the perpetrator, the passerby, but uniquely the princess. But this isn't life. Their suffering was eventually your suffering, each one a gate opened, until you're in a forest, then on a hill, and finally in the cabin. A pristine blade on a table. And in the basement of this cabin is a princess. Leaving the blade and walking down the steps, it feels exactly as it did the first time. Each step creaked, and the stone at the bottom cold, though her dress is no longer illuminated by moonlight, but by her magnificent image radiating outside. So you talk, and talk, and talk, and talk, to the only person who's felt real after all this time. After all these lives and deaths, for once, someone else remembers them too. Every hand that struck a beating heart, every dress and feathers soaked in blood, she saw all of it, felt all of it, but remembered you. Sitting in the infinite wouldn't be so bad with the only other person who's felt real. Then again, she's part of you. As much as you built her, she molded you. As a blade carves wood, the wood dulls the blade. To every light there is a shadow, and to every shadow a blindingly magnificent light. So you can stay here, forever with her, or leave and begin something new. Climb the stairs with her, reach the door, and open it together to find what's beyond it. What's really to be found together. And for once, it ends. Because Slay the Princess is a game about two halves that bitterly hate, vigorously fight, passionately love, or affect one another. Because in the end, love is a choice. Perhaps you fall into love, like you fall into a new life, a new cabin, a new princess. But after a few lifetimes, it becomes a choice. Do I stab them in the back? Do I pretend I care to get what I want? Do I fight simply because it's fun? Do I care if I leave them behind? And each time you came back, it was a choice. Each time you found her, sat there and continued the journey, a choice. Each time by the end you chose to see her fall to pieces, leave, or start again with something new. A choice. Welcome to Slay the Princess, a game made by Black Tabby Games. A love story about a hero who's come covered in darkness by night to slay a princess, and a princess waiting to be found.